Hello YouTube friends, Dr. Teresa here. I wanted to give you an update after having my captive bred dwarf seahorses for 2 months. Well, for some reason I continued to have problems with the nitrites, and as a result, one of my dwarf males who I had moved into some pure water either developed an infection or a low immune response due to the poor water, and he ended up passing. So I did have to make some changes. One of them I did is I took my biological media that I originally had in a sachet and I took it out and left it loose inside of the filter. And that will allow more flow through, and it also gave me more space to add more media, so hopefully more nitrifying colonies have opportunities to grab onto places and start growing. In addition to that, I also swapped out the intake sponge. I had a cheap one on there and I replaced it with a fluval edge, and you can see the difference in quality between the two. The one on the left is the fluval sponge. Look at the difference, how porous the fluval is compared to the cheap sponge. And I bet a lot of brine shrimp and waste was getting into the filter. I did have to cut some notches into the fluval sponge so that it would fit onto my Aqua Clear 70 intake, but that worked great. I did have to return to using prime to keep the water safe for the seahorses, but I did keep track of the pH, and I added buffer to the water that I use to do water changes with as necessary. I also added stress coat after each water change. I included some Paragard in case there were some parasites that were impacting the aquarium. I do like to add Pristine because it does keep the water clear and helps break down any buildup on the plastic plants. And then I was also adding some Stability to encourage nitrifying bacteria colonies. I did also add one bright orangish red plant to really bring out the colors in the seahorses, and it's definitely having an effect. If you look at the back here, you see a male who is expecting, and he's got a pretty good size load, but notice how he and the female in back are looking a beautiful orange. Here's one of the babies that's a little bit older. Some of them are surviving. And here's another one of a different color, probably about a week and a half. And here's a newborn. So I have been having babies born throughout. And look at this papa. He really has quite a big belly. Beautiful color, isn't he? And look at this female. She looks pink, matching the flower that she's on. So the seahorses are doing well. This guy has a nice big brood. It just seems like that the water quality, as it continues to get better, there are more hatches. This guy is about a week and a half, so he's really growing. And I noticed that the papa's bellies are much bigger. And here's a pretty one. So I am getting a couple to survive each of the batches, and there's another 2 hiding there, and she's one of my favorites. I call her Maggie. I just love all of her series. And there's a baby on the new red plant. You can see him very well against the red. He's probably about a week old, and this was a fun one. Probably siblings wrestling. Fun to capture and watch. And here's another view of a papa who's quite large with his expectancy, and we can see some of the other seahorses. They're beautiful colors, but they look like they're doing well. They act like everything is good in the tank. Finally, the nitrites are starting to come down. So I think we're moving in a good direction. I'm really enjoying them. I've got a pattern going with hatching the brine shrimp, 2 big hatches a week, and then using the hatching dishes as a supplement. So I think I'm going to be able to have a continuously growing population at this rate. Thanks so much for watching, and take care.